Hey there folks, I am the Mighty Plantain. Thanks for checking out this video. Now I have the next 4 days off and a little over 20 new beers to review, which means that I'm going to be doing a few more of these batch reviews. Now, if you remember from a Founders video that I posted recently, I mentioned I might be making some changes to the layout of the channel and be doing more of these. I've got 3 or 4 beers from one brewery. I'm just going to do them in one video. That way they don't sit edited in my finished folder for like months or even a couple of years on end and never see the light of day. I'm going to do multiple beers per video and post them all at once. I went back and forth on this. I'm thinking, people aren't going to want to shuffle through a video to watch 4 different beers and look for the one they actually are interested in. Versus people tend to want to watch one beer per video and maybe keep to my Wednesday Friday schedule that I've been doing for uploads, or just do them all individually and just post more often and in an irregular schedule. Like I said during that Founders video, hit me up now in the comments, the email link. Love to hear what you have to say about the format of the channel. Would you prefer to see videos less regularly and just more sporadically, but singular, or on a regular basis, but more beers per video? I don't know. Can't necessarily be a people pleaser, but that's really what it's all about, getting the subscriber count up there. So, anyway, that aside, we're looking at 4 beers tonight from Blank Canvas Brewing. Blank Canvas, they've been around for a while. I've seen them at a few beer fests, local ones, and my first introduction to them was at one of the beer fests where they were serving a roasted garlic alt. Roasted garlic in a beer, who'd have thunk it? But it was fucking delicious. It was weird and different enough to be delicious. I've had they did one based on a cinnamon toast cereal. Yeah, like, you know what I'm talking about there. And it was pretty damn good. But I haven't had a negative experience from them yet. So when I walked into my local beer store, one of the bigger chains that I'm not used to seeing Blank Canvas stuff in, or rarely seeing Blank Canvas stuff in, and they've got a whole display with a bunch of Blank Canvas, I was like, ooh. So I picked up all 4 that they had. This is their Belgian Waffle, 5% ABV, inspired by a Belgian wit with added vanilla and lactose to simulate the whipped cream. Ooh, and with local fruits. So this is what I like about these guys. Starting with that roasted garlic alt, they do some weird, crazy shit. So, next one up is the Margarita Gose. Now, I put this one second because Gose is a little bit... Gose. They're a little bit sour. So this might have some flavor components that I don't want to overlap with some of the lighter components on this one. So I put the sour second. This is also 5% ABV, and it's a Gose paired with lime and tequila gives this a real margarita flavor. Okay, and so third we went with the darker beer. This is a 6.1% ABV coffee and donuts. Now, yeah, it's a brown ale made with Maine-sourced potato donuts. I bet that's from the Holy Donut, because there's only one local donut chain that I can think of that uses potato donuts, but I'm surprised they don't use the name here. They usually do. With Maine-sourced potato donuts and local coffee from Farmhouse Coffee Roasters in Winterport, Maine. Oh, maybe because Holy Donut sells coffee as well, they weren't allowed to use both chain names. And Farmhouse Coffee Roasters won whatever the bidding war was for first billing. I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but, just a thought. So with a brown ale, this is going to be a little bit darker, a little bit heavier, and it's got flavor elements that that might not interfere with these. Sours I would put first, darker beers after that. But the reason this one, the Fuzzy IPA, is last is because hoppy notes from IPAs will interfere with flavors from other beers more readily than anything else will. That bitterness from the hops will overwhelm your taste buds, and it'll overpower them, and you will miss out on more subtle flavor notes from any other beer. Even if this was a dark, heavy chocolate stout, I would still put the IPA last. Rookie mistake to order them simply from light to dark. You'll come to find this in some tasting rooms, some tap rooms. They just simply line them up from light to dark, and your lightest beer on that slate could be a triple IPA with tons of hops, and then you don't taste jack squat from the other three. Just a little knowledge. You guys have heard it before if you've been tuning into the channel regularly, but this is their Fuzzy IPA, 6.5% ABV. It's a New England IPA, has loads of hop flavor without overwhelming bitterness, kiwi fruit added for exotic fruit flavor, so often present in this style of IPA, made with 100% Maine grown hops. Awesome. So it's not just a New England IPA, it's exclusively a Maine IPA. That'll be good. But we're going to start with the Belgian Waffle. I'm going to move these guys off to the side so that we can put them in the fridge. Now, I will be cleansing with water in between these beers, and I will try not to go overboard tonight. I will try not to be a complete jackass if I film another beer after these four. If you guys have seen the Get to the Chaba beer review from Bath Brewing, it's Bath Brewing, you'll see what happens if I suck down too many beers of high ABV too quickly and then review another regular beer. At video was a disaster, but I posted it anyway because I hope you find it at least somewhat entertaining. Anyway, Blank Canvas Breweries Belgian Waffle, 5% ABV, and like we said before, inspired by a Belgian wit with added vanilla and lactose to simulate the whipped cream and with local fruits. All right, so Blank Canvas is out of Brewer, Maine. I keep thinking every time, that was a little full. That spurted a bit. We'll have to get a wipe and clean that up. Don't fill your cans so full, guys. Come on. We had this problem with the Get to the Choppa that I mentioned before. Got to leave a little bit of airspace there. Anyway, that's an interesting color. They said local fruits. I wonder what they put in it. I mean, based on the picture, you'd think blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries. And you know what? Maine's known for blueberries. We do have blackberries and raspberries too. Some damn good ones. But yeah, they're out of Brewer, Maine. And like I was saying, I keep thinking for some reason, I always want to say they're out of Lewiston. I know when I think of Lewiston, I'm thinking of Bare Bones, which is another great brewery that's got some very inventive beers. But I can't seem to clear my mind the thought that Blank Canvas is based out of Lewiston. Got to get that out of my head. Now, that's a fairly effervescent beer. I mean, I did a bit of an aggressive pour, but I still got a decent head on it. But it's kind of a sparkly head. It's almost like it's like a soda in terms of the way the bubbles are behaving, but it's also definitely a beer. It's foamy like a beer, but it had the distinct effervescence of a soda. I don't know, maybe I'm talking out of my ass, maybe you know what I'm talking about, but some beers effervesce like a soda, some beers effervesce like a beer. This one was kind of in between the two. But it's very hazy, almost looks like a glass of grapefruit juice. It's kind of pinkish, bluish up at the top, but then it fades to this light, hazy, citrusy color down here. Overall hazy. I can see tons of bubbles coming up from the bottom, even though they're not replenishing this head. So again, it's very reminiscent, halfway between a soda and a beer in terms of effervescence. But definitely hazy, and yeah, it just looks like a glass of grapefruit juice. It's got an interestingly sweet berry aroma. I'm not identifying distinct berry types, but A general sweet berry aroma, but this slight breadiness to it as well. Inspired by Belgian wit. I mean, I tend to think of Kolsch's and what's another emerging style? Kolsch's primarily, but some other styles as being bready, but not necessarily a wit. A wit I tend to think of as being like grainy, but this actually has a distinct bready aroma to it. Combining with the fruit, it's very interesting. A nice light mouthfeel, like an airy Belgian waffle. Imagine that. Lice. Wow. I said I wasn't going to get plowed before I did this, and apparently I'm stumbling over my words already. But it has a nice, light, airy mouthfeel, but a slight creaminess to it. Hint of sweetness, overall berry flavor, but still some breadiness to it. That's just... it's just weird. In a good way. In a good way, it's weird. And this is what I love about these guys. They manage to make beers that have an overall experience that you're not expecting. You know, like, Belgian waffle, fruity whipped cream Belgian waffles. There's no way they can put that in a beer. And yet they did. I mean, it's creamy with a slight sweetness. It's got this bready flavor to it. It's light and airy. It's got a berry flavor, sweet berry flavor, and yet it's still distinctly a beer underneath it all. It's somewhat confusing, but also very awesome. Yeah, it's different. And I honestly don't think I've ever had anything like this before. I'm hesitating here, I know, but in the moment, I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. This is overall a great beer experience. It's as close as you're ever going to get to having Belgian waffles with fruit and cream in a can. I don't imagine anybody else being able to accomplish the same thing. I mean, maybe someday I'll be proven wrong and I'll change my rating on this beer, but for now, this is so unique and different and out there and unexpected, and this is a genuine wow reaction. So yeah, well, I'm 5 out of 5. I'm gonna finish this one up. It doesn't look like it's gonna take very long, and then we'll move on to the next one. The Margarita Gose, or Gose. Sometimes I see the little accent mark, sometimes I don't. I don't know if there's an accepted pronunciation on Gose or Gose, but I know that some breweries will incorporate it as Gose into the name of the beer. You know, anything goes. Sounds a hell of a lot better than anything Gose. Gose sounds like Gozer, and then that just brings up, dreadful, awful memories. Gozer the Gozerian. Some of you know what I'm talking about. The rest of you are severely lacking in culture. Anyway. Margarita Gose after this. All right, next up is the Margarita Gose. This is a Gose paired with a lime and tequila gives this a real margarita flavor. And I know, I read the label descriptions to you guys on the top of the video for each of these, but I'm doing this as much to remind myself as anything else at this point. Pardon. So Margarita Gose paired with lime and tequila. Now my question is, did they actually incorporate tequila in the brewing process? Because if so, it's only a little bit. They brought this down to a 5% ABV, so it would be quite watered down in terms of a tequila. Or maybe they just incorporated, agave and some other stuff into the brewing process, so it's similar to a tequila. I don't know. It doesn't specifically say if they put actual tequila in this. But if they did, like I said, they brought it down low enough in ABV so it can be sold as a beer rather than a canned cocktail product. Wow, that has definitely got some effervescence to it. Now, I may have poured that a little bit more aggressively than the last one, though, so that could factor into that as well. But look at the size of that head on it. It's still pretty hazy, though. And if you look at that, it's got a nice bright yellow color to it, but it fades to that light citrusy, almost the same grapefruit juice color at the bottom there. Yeah, distinctly hazy. And as in the previous beer, which I didn't make this distinction, the haze is definitely not particulates. I didn't see a lot of flecks and flocks floating around in that last beer, and I don't in this one either. That's genuinely hazy. The beer itself is hazy. And so it got a pleasant yellow color. That head that I put on it faded pretty damn quickly, and I'm not seeing a lot of bubbles coming up from the bottom. Maybe a mediocre number of bubbles coming up from the bottom. But that head did not maintain itself. That is already gone. And I usually struggle to put a good head on a beer, and I had a good one started for that. So those are tiny bubbles that evaporated quickly. Huh. Oh well, looks more like a regular margarita with no head on it, so... I'm getting some lime. It almost, and this could be a mental thing, but it almost smells salty. I mean, they say margarita and they've got a distinct rim of salt on that glass, but I am getting a hint of a salty aroma. Like a seawater. Not in an unpleasant way, but just like a seawater aroma off of it. So lime, saltiness, and just an undertone of tequila ick. Yeah. I say ick because I'm not a big fan of the taste of tequila. And I'm getting that slight hint of the tequila ick, which is that weird, bitter, icky aftertaste. Sickeningly sweet, maybe? No, it's not sickeningly sweet because tequila is definitely not sweet. But that weird bitter aftertaste that you get from tequila, I'm getting a hint of that in the aroma of this. So who knows how much tequila is actually in there, but if any. But definitely getting the aroma of tequila. Ooh, salty. With lime. I'm getting a very grainy, a light grainy, beery flavor. So like almost a wheat beer. And then there is a hint of that tequila ick. But then there's a finish. There's a grassy finish to it. That's weird. I mean, even if you're not a fan of tequila in general, you can appreciate a well-made margarita. And this is like everything you would enjoy in a well-made margarita, plus everything you'd look forward to in a nice, light, refreshing beer. Again, there's that slight off-putting tequila ick in the aroma, but again, that's only off-putting to those of us who aren't big tequila fans. And the flavor, it's not bad. It's got a light to light medium mouthfeel. I'm going to go with light. I'm going to go with a nice light mouthfeel. It's crisp, it's refreshing, easy to drink. This is definitely a nice warm weather beer, although right now it's 64 degrees in here, and I'm still finding it refreshing and crisp. And so you could probably drink this any time of the year, just like a good margarita. Yeah, some saltiness there. The lime is definitely coming through. There's some sourness to the beer. Now, here's the thing. You know what it goes tastes like. There's a certain sourness from the beer itself, and then there's a different sourness that you get from lime juice added to the brew. And I'm getting both together, and they're complementing each other. So the sourness I'm getting is both the grainy sourness and the citrusy sourness interplaying, and it's a very subtle difference. Can't believe I'm going to say this because I sound like an elitist fuck, but not everybody's going to pick up on the difference between the two. There, I said it. I can't take it back. I'm not editing it out, even though it makes me sound like a pretentious prick. Not everybody is going to pick up on that difference, but there is a grainy sourness from the Gose beer style versus the citrusy sourness from the fruit juice, any fruit juice in there, and they interplay with each other, but you can distinctly taste the difference between the two and the fact that they're both there. Okay. Feel free to tell me I'm full of shit down there in the comments of the email. Like, if anybody from Blank Canvas actually views this and knows that I'm wrong, please call me out on it. I want to hear that. But that's what I'm getting from this. Again, some saltiness, some hint of tequila ick, but not as severe as like a shot of tequila. I mean, this beer, and there's that crisp, grassy finish. This beer is everything I would like about a well-made margarita, which, again, I do like margaritas, even though I'm not a big tequila fan, and everything I would want from a nice, easy-drinking Gose beer. So, again, this is another big win from Blank Canvas. I've got to hit this with 5 out of 5 as well. This is a good trend to start for these beers. I love the Blank Canvas stuff. So we'll finish this bad boy up and we'll move on to the first darker beer of the set, the Coffee and Doughnuts. All right, so Coffee and Doughnuts. And they went with the G in Doughnuts. Has anybody left that other than Duncan? No, not even Duncan. I think everybody has the donut. I don't know what. Or the GH. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we're at that point in the evening, folks. Brown ale made with Maine-sourced potato donuts and local coffee from Farmhouse Coffee Roasters in Winterport, Maine. So, like I said, the There's only one potato-based donut company I can think of in Maine, and that's the Holy Donut. So, oh, that one's overfilled too. I should have maybe taken it slower on opening it, but you guys need to not fill these cans so far. A lot of local breweries are doing that lately, I see. They splatter all over the place. Ooh, that has got a lot of effervescence to it. Like I said before, I do struggle with putting a good head on a beer, and that wasn't even that aggressive of a pour compared to the others, and I still got this as a result. So I'm going to even that out. We'll let that settle a little bit, and we'll come back to it. But yeah, the Holy Donut. Most breweries, maybe that's the deal. I said at the top of the video that maybe farmhouse coffee roasters won out in terms of which local company you can mention. But the Holy Donut also partners with Lone Pine on a very regular basis. So maybe they've got some kind of exclusive agreement where you can't mention their name in any other beer. I don't know. Or maybe Blank Canvas used their donuts without acknowledging them, or another possibility, maybe they made their own donuts based on that type of donut, and they're not obligated to mention another company because they didn't use their specific donuts or recipe. I don't know. This is all speculation. Don't hold me to it. But all I can say is Maine-sourced potato donuts makes me think of the Holy Donut and their delicious fucking donuts. So they may or may not be involved with this beer. Not that that earns or loses it any points in any case. But I can definitely smell some roastiness from here. Yeah. Gotta follow form. We've been looking at the appearance of the beer before smelling it these days. Definitely a departure from the appearance of those previous beers. Still quite hazy. I suspect that nothing from Blank Canvas is filtered. I would need to confirm that through the brewery themselves. But I suspect that a lot of these are unfiltered, if not all of them, because the haziness that's in there, as I mentioned before, is not a particulate haziness. It's just a general haziness of the beer itself. This is by far the darkest. It has a very golden brown color, a roasty golden brown that fades to a lighter roasty golden brown down here. It's almost like a light or a dark, a very dark honey colored where most of the light is coming through. It's almost mesmerizing combined with that haziness, how beautiful this beer is. And as much of a head as I got on it, it did fade pretty quickly. There is still some effervescence. There's some bubbles coming up from below. But definitely initial effervescence followed by not much of a follow-up. That is definitely a roasty coffee aroma coming from that beer. Maybe also a hint of sweetness from the donut. Not much starchiness from the potato. I'm primarily getting that roasty coffee note, which is pretty typical from a coffee beer. Again, I put it just before the IPA because the bitterness of a roasted coffee can interfere with your taste buds just as much as the bitterness of hops. But roasty coffee bitterness, hint of sweetness, maybe some starchiness from the potato. Maybe. That could just be in my head. I don't know. oddly sour up front. Like this weird sour kick. And like I said, I've been cleansing with water in between. Maybe that's some leftover sourness from the last beer, but odd bit of sourness up front. Nice medium mouthfeel, but very quickly, like a cup of black coffee. Maybe a medium heavy mouthfeel. It's like a medium mouthfeel, but it rests in your belly pretty solidly. You know, the old stick to your ribs mentality. But no, it's got that slight sourness up front. It very quickly gives way to a nice black cup of coffee with a hint of sweetness in the finish. And I'm actually getting that starchy potato flavor in the burps. Burp. There's definitely some potato in there. I mean, it's probably transformed in the process of making a potato donut, and the donut itself is put into the brew. But you're definitely getting some starchiness in the burps. It's like a nice black, bitter black, roasted cup of coffee with some serious body, hint of sweetness, and then starchy potato burps. Yeah. I mean, nothing really out there, but I'm definitely getting coffee and donut out of this. And I know there's potatoes in there somewhere. Maybe not outright potato, but it's definitely in the process somewhere. That is not bad. Though it's not as unique or as different as some of the others, I've had similar taste combinations in beers, similar experience combinations in beers. This one is only going to get a 4 out of 5 from me. It's still a really solid beer. It's still different. It's out there. It's unexpected. It's better than you think it would be, but it's not as crazy or unique, and it's not giving me that wow experience that I'm getting from some of the others. So we're going with a 4 out of 5. Still a damn good beer. Still something you should check out, but it's just not quite as wow as the other two. So I'm going to finish this one up. I'm going to move on to that last one, the Fuzzy IPA. All right, and here we are with the fourth and final. This is the Fuzzy IPA. This is a New England IPA. Again, has loads of hop flavor without overwhelming bitterness. Kiwi fruit added for exotic fruit flavor, so often present in this style IPA. Made with 100% Maine grown hops, so it's not just a New England IPA, it's also a Maine IPA, god damn it. Now, one thing I will say, when you guys are printing your beer labels, do not use the justified setup. Your text spacing suffers greatly from that. And maybe this looked better than, using the best fit option or the centered option, but you got these huge gaps in between words. Do not use justified, ladies and gentlemen. It looks sloppy. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm slightly OCD. I don't know. But those giant, weird, random gaps because the software is trying to compensate. All right, ignore that whole bit. Ignore it. It's just me being a jackass. Now, just in case this one's overfilled, I'm going to slowly little bit, just a little bit. But this is not a bad thing necessarily, folks. A lot of breweries just try to fill their beers right up as full as they can, but you got to leave a little bit of space there. Otherwise, you get splatter all over the place. I mean, it's on my thumb, my hands. Now I just wiped it on my pants. You know, just a little bit of airspace is not a bad thing. Again, don't get me wrong. I like getting as much of your beer as possible in every can, but airspace is not your enemy. You can smell the hops from here. Again, I'm not going to get into the aroma before I get into the look, because this is a mistake I made with the last beer. Oh, another nice hazy beer. Pardon. That is a very orangish, a reddish, maybe reddish, a very orange gold color with a hint of red to it. Somewhat effervescent. Not a lot of bubbles come from the bottom. Didn't get a good head on this one. But also still quite hazy. Almost looks like a glass of apple cider. Nice looking beer. Honestly, less hoppy in terms of the aroma than I would have expected. But I'm definitely getting citrus with an aftertone of pine. I mean, citrus and pine, that's a New England IPA thing. And me, personally, I am geared more towards citrus and pine as well. So I'm going to pick up on those more readily than other hop aromas, but distinctly citrus and pine, but also overall more subtle notes than I would have expected from a New England IPA. Well, that's odd. Very odd. I was getting citrus and then a hint of pine, but when I drink it, I'm getting citrus and floral up front. And then this explosion of pine with, honestly, a hint of spruce. Which, as far as I know, there's not a particular hop variety that produces a spruce ester, but you can get it with spruce tips. They don't specifically mention using spruce tips here, but and getting that citrus up front, and then like pine, spruce, evergreen, and then it fades too. Oh, more citrus and floral up front. Citrus with an aftertone of floral, and then an explosion of piney with an aftertaste of spruce. And then as everything fades, I'm actually getting some earthy and grassy notes. That's... I don't know what hop blend they used for this, but that's really good. It's really well put together. And it's the same, drink after drink. Up front, citrus, and then with some floral, and then like an explosion of pine and hints of spruce, and then it's earthy and grassy aftertaste. Wow. As it lingers on the palate, if I don't take another drink, I'm getting the spruce, maybe pine, but that evergreen is coming back on me. Huh. Now that I'm halfway through it, there's a distinct undertone of dankness that follows everything. Once that first burst of citrus with the hint of floral starts to fade, this dankness kicks in and it follows the rest of those tasting notes all the way through. It's still there now. Damn. That's impressive. Gotta hit this with a 5 out of 5 as well. I mean, there's so many complex and interplaying flavors in terms of the hoppiness. I mean, it's got a decent malt backbone. There's a hint of sweetness to it, which tells me there's some grain sugars in there. But it's mostly about those hop characteristics that are coming through, and as I described before, I mean it's not changing or evolving with each sip until you get about to the halfway point, and then those dank notes kick in, but you get them throughout the entire experience, which makes me wonder if they weren't there before and I just didn't notice them right off because of the intensity of the other hoppy flavors. But damn, another 5 out of 5. This one's it's great. It's got everything you want from a good IPA. It's got everything you want from a New England IPA. And the fact that these are all hops grown in Maine, I'm very impressed that you guys put together such a great profile from Maine-grown hops. I mean, not that we're not capable of growing great hops with specific flavor profiles here in Maine, but the fact that you're able to get enough of each one to put together such a great brew, that speaks volumes. So again, another 5 out of 5. Blank Canvas taking the fucking cake for me. Rather consistently. I talk about other Maine breweries more than I do Blank Canvas, but honestly, I think these guys are poised to take my favorite spot, my number one spot. I don't know. Bigelow and Booth Bay have some really great. All right, we're not going to compare breweries in this video. We'll do that with something else later. But I got to tell you, Blank Canvas is at least in my top 5 at this point. They are competing for my top 1 spot at this point. We'll see. Let's see. They're released in my top 5. I hate doing this to local breweries because they all have their own distinct strengths, weaknesses, and overall flavor characteristics, but I hate to point a finger at any one and say I like you more than the others, because honestly, it's a struggle among equals, and balanced skill sets and balanced flavor strengths. All right, I'm talking out of my ass at this point. Bottom line is, I can't pick a favorite among local breweries, but if I could, Blank Canvas tonight would be up there at number one, and any other day of the week they're in the top 5, and they would be, gun to my head, they're in the top 5. But I hate picking favorites. I already detailed why. Anyway, I'm just running off at the mouth at this point. But, I mean, out of 4 beers that I've picked up from Blank Canvas recently, 3 of them were 5 out of 5 for me. The other one was, I believe, a 4, so... any one of them is worth checking out. If you have checked out any of these beers or all 4 of them, hit me up down below in the comments. Love to hear what you have to say about them, whether you agree with me or disagree. Either way, let's hear your feedback. Let's talk about the beer. While you're down there, don't forget to like and share the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. When you subscribe, click on that little bell up there so you get a notification whenever I post a new video. Pardon. Also, as I said at the top of the video, for you guys who have been viewing for a long time, let me know what you think about the potential changes to the format of the channel I mentioned. Is it more important to you that I post regularly at least once a week, or is it more important to you that I just post whatever I find? And do you want to pour through 4 different beers in one review, or would you rather just see individual beer reviews on a more sporadic basis? I don't know. Some people say don't be a people pleaser, but bottom line is, I'm kind of thinking this channel might be able to start making some money. Maybe. So I might have to appeal to what people want in order to do that. Yeah. 7 or 8 years later, I finally figured that out. I don't know. I gotta look back and see when I started. Again, I'm rambling. Anyway, feedback about these beers, feedback about the channel, hit me up down there. Comments, email link. I do pay attention to both. Till next time, folks, drink local Maine beers. Definitely check out Blank Canvas in Brewer, not Lewiston, because I keep fucking that up. Yep, Brewer. Someday, maybe we will get back to Brewfests, and you guys will be able to check them out there as well. Fuck COVID. Cheers.